This is your crypto news. It's 27th of Jan. So I've got a couple of things to cover. Crypto's going down. There's a couple of actionables, and I want to quickly touch on Jup and Catstanbul, which was absolutely amazing. Spoiler alert. So firstly, Bonk and the Bonk Dragon. This ends tomorrow, 4 p.m. UTC. So you've been accumulating attributes if you've been watching my videos, and then there's going to be some sort of airdrop, Chinese New Year airdrop. There's 2 more attributes to do. They both relate to like buying and selling stuff using a Telegram bot. A little bit difficult, so go check that out. If you haven't noticed, by the way, I'm not at home, so I do not have a computer screen to show you, but the tweets will be linked below on how to do it. So make sure you do that because Bonk, very, very bullish on Bonk, and I imagine the more attributes you have, the better it is, of course, for you. Next bit of news, FOMC meeting is tomorrow and the next day, the 28th and 29th, and then like 2:30 p.m. normally Eastern time on the 29th, they'll announce different findings and whatnot. This happens 8 times a year, and quite often before that, of course, we see a dip in the markets because people don't know what's happening. But in addition to that, why is the market actually going down? Well, DeepSeek, which is like an AI company, which I'd never heard of until just a couple of days ago, they have an AI model that's better than OpenAI. So OpenAI has raised billions. These guys have raised a couple of, a small amount of millions. I don't know exactly how much, and apparently it's better. It's China versus the US in terms of this AI race. We won't tangent off too much, but basically Sam Altman is not really favored by Elon Musk, and Elon Musk has a big voice. He put money into this non-profit that became private and whatnot. Either or, regardless of all this, AI is very important, data is very important, and ideally pulling the data in a more Web3 way so that you're paid for your data and it isn't censored like it currently is. Basically, it'll give you one tangent or another tangent, depending on which country you're in and whatnot, and politics. The other thing is this, of course, pushed down the prices of Nvidia and other big stocks, which meant the normal stock market suffered a down day or a couple of down days, which of course carries over to crypto. Now, personally, nothing is financial advice, never will be, but I do think the bottom's not going to be too far away, or maybe we've kind of hit it. It's a very bullish time. Trump is bullish on crypto, or even if he is, a small amount of bullishness, the cabinet and the Congress in general or his team are bullish on crypto. It's about, putting crypto first because this has a huge amount of money and a huge amount of innovation. All the taxation, all that sort of stuff has to kind of come out later. There's also a little bit of speculation that Eric Trump has said that there'll be 0% capital gains on a crypto that was created in the USA, which who knows if that's true or false. It's a bit of speculation. Either or, what I'm just trying to point out is the fact that right now, if you're selling your tokens and you think it's going to go down further, I'm not in the same bank camp as you. I think it could go a little bit lower, which is why I do have a bid system on DLMM with Meteor with just Sol, but I'm happy to add one with ETH and BTC. I won't get into that too much. Basically, I do think ETH has been neglected. I don't think it's going to outperform overall Sol, but it may outperform for the next few months just because Vitalik is kind of in there, just guns blazing, looking at getting a new leader for the Ethereum Foundation, which granted has not been leading the ship very well. And Ethereum does have, extraordinary smart people, the smartest of people in this space. We all have our own bag bias. I do have ETH, not as much compared to Sol, but I do think it can outperform because we're so euphoric on Sol right now, and ETH, we're just bearish. And even ETH people are bearish. So that could be a bit of a pump up if they align a few things. Other things to keep in mind, of course, you can do the same thing with the DLMM with ETH. It's just a Sol wrapped version, and WBTC or CBBTC, it's a Coinbase BTC. If you think it's going to come down, you can also set limit orders. But the thing is, if you set a limit order for 89,000 and it hits 89,500, well, then you completely miss out on that move down. Once you've got the Sol or whatever it is you've been accumulating, it's a good idea to maybe withdraw it out of the DLMM and to change the position so it's an ask. If you don't know what any of this means, I do have a good tutorial on it. We will cover this one aspect when I'm back in my recording space. But DLMM stuff, it's the alpha, proper alpha. All right, cool. So we've covered Bonk, the markets, and what I'm doing to accumulate more. The other thing to keep in mind is Abstract Mainnet launching today. Haven't played yet, but I am bullish on Abstract. Don't know all the technicalities. And, is it more decentralized or blah, 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 blah? No. It's an EVM, but it does have on-world or real-world kind of ability to onboard the masses. Pengu, I think, will do well. And Abstract Streaming, I'm pretty keen on checking that out myself. Now, on to the final thing, Jup and Catstanbul, very, very bullish. I am very vocal about everything. You either like it about me or you don't like it about me, but I'm just trying to be very, very transparent. I'll point out the good things and the bad things. Sometimes things don't work out for a project because, the tokenomics aren't good or whatever. I think it's better that I kind of mention that initially. Jup's tokenomics were pretty good because it's like 50-50, no VCs, but they weren't so good because it was a low float, high FDV. We've talked about this many times. I'm sure many people have. The fact that they've now burned 3 billion tokens. Meow's also taken some of his tokens to go in reward in other ways, like 280 million. There's also a Jup buyback program, which adds that buy pressure. And that buy pressure could be $100 million a year or more. Like, you just don't know. It's going to be pretty sizable. And now, of course, the next Jupiter airdrop has happened. So there's more tokens out. So the FTV is improving compared to the circulating tokens. It's still not ideal. Like, ideally, it would be like 40%. But that was a really hard thing to kind of make happen without the token going down. So they did it as best as they could. But the actual Catstanbul, I was blown away. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there for the second day. Had an emergency back in Portugal. Everything was all good, by the way, but, sad to miss out on the second day. A lot of people I didn't get to speak to, but had probably 100 conversations on just day one. And it was really, really cool. There was over 1,400 people there. And we know about JupNet, or we should know about JupNet. This is a new layer that they're creating, or a new blockchain. And the best kind of analogy with top of my head would be, imagine there's 1,000 blockchains, and there will be many blockchains in the future, unfortunately. And each of them is like an island. You can have a bridge to go from A to B, like D bridge as an example, but it takes a decent amount of time. And there's a toll fee, toll booth, all that sort of stuff. You got a bridge from one to the other to the other. Whereas imagine you've got all these islands, and then this new blockchain, JupNet, is like a map of the islands. And because you've got the map of the islands, you can just go from one to the other in terms of token trading. That's how I understand it right now. You're on base, you go to jup.com because they've got .com, which is also very bullish. I mentioned that a little while ago. That's really, really important. And they've got it, and that's absolutely brilliant. Next step would be meteor.com, ideally. So this means that you can go to jup.com when it's all loaded, and this will take years to actually push. But you go there, you can go to base, you can buy a brand new Solana token, and you just basically, it gets deposited into a vault, and it gives you another one, which I imagine you can withdraw somehow to the Solana network, or it's on the Solana network, you have access to it, but you can kind of export the private key or send it to a new wallet address or something like that. All the particulars not worked out in my mind yet, but it has really cool ZK technology. ZK, we can talk about that another day. Don't really understand ZK. Most people don't, but just think of it as a way of, you can prove who I am without me telling who you are. And we know that exists. And it works really good because you can use Apple and Gmail logins, ideally with, not even ideally, with two-factor authentication, good security. And Apple and Gmail will not know that you're connecting to an integrated wallet. And the wallet will know that it's Gmail, but it will not know that it's Bob or Seb or whoever. So all that stuff is absolutely legitimately epic. I put a tweet out, and I'm sorry I didn't put it out on all the channels. It's just been a very busy, hectic time. And in terms of being busy, and they kind of missed this, but I put out something that I was very bullish on Jup and the reasons why. So I ended up buying Jup and just at like 79 cents and put into a DLMM for an ask system. So just the price went up. So made some good fees and some good profits on that. You can use leverage, of course, but there's more risk in that. That's essentially everything today. Hope it's helpful. The other thing to keep in mind is that AI is 40% of all my share. This is per Cato.ai. I've got a premium subscription now, and it's far higher than I expected. However, most of the things are just hyper gambling. So be mindful out there. If you're going to get in and you do well, not financial advice, but try and take your initial out and then, work out your profit taking. Because so many charts just go like this and then like that. And it's just a pump and dump year. It's nasty. A lot of people are going to get wrecked. Try and find the core thesis bets. That's my kind of advice. I do have one favor before I end this video. I've made some really good Jupe content on the TLDR Jupe Day 1. That's out on Twitter. If you can go watch that, give it a retweet, like, appreciate that. And also Jupe 2 would be coming out. I'll link that below when it comes out later tonight. Do the same with that. Thanks for watching. Catch you tomorrow. It might be another catch up like this, but I'll be back in front of the computer soon.